Well, all right, Shells. May have gotten our fantasy picks wrong, but we're here to get these picks in this draft here right. How are you feeling about today?
I'm feeling very, very good about today, Soapin, because we get to see two of our top. Some people say they're the top two. I think two of our top three teams here in Lotus White and Hawkthorne Esports. These are two teams not only vying to see who will be top dog in the Excellency Light League, but two players here who are fighting to see who will be first team all 80 carry when all said and done, and we get to see our all stars.
Through that. So lots of implications coming into this one. Playoff seeding on top of just power rankings in general, kind of the confidence these teams as they're moving forward here within the league itself. Are there any picks you're really looking forward to within this upcoming match?
I'm looking to see. Look, I'm right now. I'm 100% focused on this bot lane. For sure, the matchup between looking at counters and Necrocs, we have a huge matchup here between two very strong members here. Necrocs is first in KP in the whole league, 68%, first in damage per minute, third in gold diff per game, fifth in CS a minute. He has 10 unique champions to play throughout this split, which is crazy. And Necrocs is first in gold diff per game, first in CS per minute, third in KDA. This man is also a destructive force on the Rift, and both these two teams play around making sure that their bot laner is able to get ahead and accelerated and become an absolute demonic force. So I'm focused heavily on seeing how much resources get pushed into them in the early game and how well they're able to move forward and parlay that into very strong mid and late games where they become just destructive players for both sides here.
And I think it's really interesting because in these kind of leagues, we typically see very much a focus in draft on power picks for a particular player. It's not so much a power pick that's very strong because it's strong on the patch. It's kind of more about this player plays as champion a lot and they're really good with it. But this is kind of a patch, I feel like, where champion power is really starting to creep up. You got the Gwen, the Akali, Viego, Silas that are all just very massively powerful solo laners. And I'm really looking to see if either of these teams are picking up, though I don't see much of these champions within any of these characters or with any of these players' champion pools.
No, not very much. I think Saint Alucard does play a little bit of a Kali, but he's more known for his Vlad, some Lee Sin, maybe that Anivia. But for the most part, we're probably not going to see those kind of champs here tonight. But we will still see those hyper-scaling bot lanes. I keep going back to those. Let me stop talking about those so much so we can get to that. We'll have a lot of time to speak about these 80 carries. But like you said, a lot of those champions that we see in the meta in pro play aren't going to be the same things we see in this matchup between these two teams here, but I definitely still do want to see both these guys both these teams pick comps that want to fight and that want to and have very heavy engage and very heavy dive potential. Both these junglers do play a little bit of Diana, and I definitely want to see a little bit more proactivity on the map early from both these teams because we have two heavyweights here in Hawkthorne and Lotus.
And I haven't heard, are we allowing Dr. Mundo's newest rework on this patch?
That's a great question. Not a question for me because I don't read anything that goes out to people for announcements. I don't even know if we have Hex Flash available for the players here.
That's a good point. Fair enough. We'll see if either of these teams end up kind of going towards that more takey style. But I really do think you're right with the focus being towards the spot lane. Plus, we got a lot of Kai'Sa between these two. So looking to see some hotly contested bot lane picks, maybe even going up, round one for either red side or blue side here. And of course, there's always the threat of that Ezreal on the side, just so strong with the newest items, getting untouched in this latest patch as well. Very strong AD carry if you're looking for some long-range engagement, but also just, at this point, DPS. He's one of the highest damage characters in the game just because of how much he can consistently throw out throughout a match.
I mean, like you mentioned, Divine Sunder is an absolutely disgusting item, especially when you can use it for ranged champions like that, Senna, like Ezreal, and you get Senna Ezreal lanes where they're both using it. But then you also have Ezreal getting Mirror Mana, which is also an extremely strong item. And when you have it paired with that Sunderer, and then you get Frozen Heart on top of it, you're just you're way too strong. The one item spike is very strong for Ezreal. Once you get to 3 items, I mean, you have to spend all your resources on getting on top of him if you even can, or he'll just wreck you in a team fight. But it's not just these bot laners abusing items not meant for them. It's also some enchanters. About Lulu being in the bot lane, even in solo lanes. Karma, will we see her in this matchup here? Very strong poke, very strong utility, and and ability to get onto the enemy team with Shirelia's still, I think it's going to be getting adjusted in this upcoming patch, but still extremely strong and very great for engaged comps, or even just for singular engaged champions to get things moving for your team. So I'm definitely looking to see what these two teams are going to choose to index in, as far as, are we going to see these guys go to a comp we haven't seen them go to before? Are we going to see them just go straight to comfort? I definitely want to look at how these two teams, the mindset of going up against one of the best teams in the league, and a game where you want to assert dominance, a game where it's not just to get your numbers up, not just to get your seeding and positioning for the rewards we have, but when it's 1 versus 2 or 3, you want to send a message and say, hold up, there should be no discussion. We are number 1, undisputed, and you guys are magnitudes below us, even if you are the number 2 ranked team.
And that's a big thing for Lotus White. Definitely ranked number 1 amongst most of the casters here on the Elite League, but there's a little bit of a source of controversy amongst most of the casters here. So we'll have to see if they can continue that streak of dominance that they've shown so far. But I also want to touch on something you mentioned, which is Enchanter supports in solo lanes. If we want to talk about playing around your bot lane, this is a great way to do just that. You have the ability to lock in that engaged support, so you don't lose out on the ability to start out that team fight, but then still moving that Karma, that Lulu into solo lanes, either top or mid, can really just enable your team. Not sure if any of these elators have been practicing those picks, but really interesting style of gameplay that'd be very different from what you normally see here in Light League.
Yeah, it definitely would. And given if we do see some certain different kinds of junglers get picked, when you have an enchanter in a solo lane, that also, say top lane, that also gives you the ability to pick another AD carry in the mid lane as well. And now you have 2 AD carries. One can be in Hyperscaler, the other can be like Illusion, something like that. So you have strong push in the mid lane. And now you have a good engaged support, and you have an enchanter, and those are going to work well for, first you have all this DPS, right? Then you have a very good engage. You have very good peel, poke, just good utility, if you have a Lulu, that Whimsy can be very strong for both your AD carries. So it offers you a lot more options for your compositions. You still have at least 2 winning lanes, and with it being very cheap items for support players, support champions, you have a very strong way to get multiple items, get more items sooner, and have a lot stronger team fights a lot more quickly in the game.
A big risk, of course, you take with running these enchanter supports is the ability to potentially throw out throw away your solo lane leads. Kamatako is so strong on Juggernauts here, could absolutely abuse, with just a little bit of help from a jungler, or even just by himself, as he's shown he's capable of in the past, the ability to just run over a lane. So you're hopping into draft now here. Does look like we have the Ezreal Akali ban, so some of those meta pro play picks just getting taken right off the table. They don't want to deal with them. And Xin Zhao Wukong on the other side, so kind of neutralizing some of the engage here for Hawkthorne.
And you can see 2 of those bans getting pushed to the bot lane of Lotus White. I think Hawkthorne Esports understands that Necrox and Fire Streaks are kind of heavily the win cons for that squad there. Not really loving these are mostly going to be target bans on Lotus White's side with the Wukong and Bane. Wukong is a strong engaged champion and a very good flanking champion, but not quite so meta. Bane's a very annoying champion that can hyperscale. But the first pick on the board here for, I'm going to go ahead and assume it's going to Arth in the jungle, is this Diana. This is a very strong engaged champion. You have die potential, and going for an AP jungler does open you up to go double AD mid bot, potentially double AD carry.
And even just the idea of having that double, or having the damage threat within the jungle itself, enables you to maybe even pick up one of those, more supportive solo laners. So kind of allowing your damage to be distributed around different members of your team really frees up the ability of those solo lane picks. And Kayn locked in as well. So this has actually been a solo queue staple for a while higher elo. I'm really excited to see if they can translate it to team play, but it just hasn't actually seen much pro play. So Kayn, a little bit of a wacky pick, but I'm liking the change up here from Lotus White.
Hey, look, wacky might be the answer here. We're going to have to see how Smart Pants is able to go ahead and pilot this champion. Very unconventional ganks, he's annoying to deal with, very fast clear. So he doesn't really suffer too much, like you said, in solo queue, but you have to really have some very strong synergy to make it work in competitive play. Fives, you're all in comms. Definitely going to look to see how Smart Pants plays this game out. And Necrox gets to play his Sivir. I think his second most played champ in this game. definitely wants to scale up. This is a Necroc special here. Doesn't lose on Sivir very much at all. I don't think he has lost on Sivir this split so far, but he loves this pick, very comfortable on it. And the answer to go up against it potentially is this Tristana.
Vlad's still on the table here. Very powerful to pair with that Tristana, or with the Sivir as well. It's actually going to be Anivia, so not quite a run at you champion, but definitely something to be very strong here at controlling different areas of where this Diana might be able to approach.
And what you see here is that Lotus White wants to go ahead and try to zone away, like you said. You know, you have the Sivir, the long range boomerang. Look, that's a disgusting ability. Hits you both sides. It's so hard to deal with. Anivia, you never want to meet her up in a choke point. This is a team that's the beginning of a team that can really punish you in a choke point. Has a pretty good turn off of objectives. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing here from Lotus White. Braum, you already know what Braum does. Level 1, he's one of the strongest champs in the game. Braum is a very, very strong enabling champ as a support. And when you are dealing with, we have one of the best AD carries in this entire Light League, you want to pick up a support who can really push him and enable him. And Braum can keep him safe in the lane here. This is going to be a very, very strong pick here for Matty Mice.
But I actually like this quite a bit. Locking out the Victor, making sure they can't have that safe long-range wave clear. They want to be, makes me think that maybe they want to have some more jungle pressure towards this mid lane. Maybe try and get this Anivia really going earlier on in the game. Malphite also banned out. That's definitely Kamantako wants a matchup that he can abuse here in top lane as well. And on the other side, we got Shen and Seraphine, Kamantako's best picks, and obviously just a very strong Enchanter support.
Yep, Seraphine, not quite as meta as she used to be, but look, she is still strong. As long as she has Encore, she has a place in this league. Really don't like when people go the supportive items on her. Not a very strong build right now, but doesn't matter. She won't be in the game, and we're going to be seeing potentially double-sided solo lane support champs. Now, this Karma could still go with Sivir. You have Immaculate Poke, very good speed up. Both of them have very good speed up themselves. And this Sivir into potentially Braum Tristana could be Braum a different champion here for counters, maybe a Jinx, maybe even a Kaisa perchance here, but it'll probably end up being this Tristana if this Ziggs does get locked in, and it does. I'm still liking this bot lane here potentially for Lotus White. Sivir Karma is gonna have a lot of pressure in this lane and potentially give a guy like Arth some very strong chances to go for these dragons to get priority very early and stack them up very, very conveniently for himself.
I'm looking here at this composition for Lotus White, and I'm really just scratching my head. What is the top lane pick in my mind? I think this is going to be Karma support here. That will allow them to just run at the enemy team. They've got 2 speed up champions here, and normally when you see that, you want to give one more pick in here that could really benefit from getting that speed, and it just allows them to close the gap and be dominant. I'm thinking maybe a Set or even like a Darius. I'm not sure exactly what I might go for here, but some kind of juggernaut that could really benefit from these speed buffs would be great here for Lotus White.
I like Gnar here.
And there's the Set. Yeah, okay. That's what I'm talking about. So Set into Cho'Gath, good matchup here for Kamatako. I think this is exactly what they're looking for here. And it's just going to now come down to these junglers and which lanes they kind of want to really get going here in this match.
Yeah, it looks like Lotus White got the code signaled in there quite correctly. We'll see if he goes for a mathematically correct Set there in the top lane. And we know how disgusting of a champ Set is. He's tanky without having to go for tanky items. He can go for a lot of bruiser items and still with that Haymaker live forever. Now with the shielding coming through, and if you get onto the Set, you have Anivia to support him. You have the Boomerang Blade to come through. It's going to be very, very difficult to actually make moves onto the Set, especially if you are targeting, especially if you are focusing Set. There's a lot of damage and poke coming through from the other members of the team, so you have to be very, very careful. And the Cho'Gath to round out the comp for Hawkthorne, I actually am liking this composition. It's a little bit less straightforward than Lotus White's composition, but there is a decent amount of a decent amount of scaling with the Tristana, with the Cho'Gath, and a lot of siege. I mean, the biggest thing is the siege. Ziggs and Tristana are turret destroyers. They melt them like butter in a microwave. Don't put butter in the microwave. But these two champions, these two Yordles, are very, very good at taking those turrets mid game. So if Hawkthorne does get a lead and it has ability to get a lot of push in the lanes, maybe even split a little bit, there's a very strong chance they just melt through these turrets and get a very, very I don't want to say quick and easy win, but there's a very strong win con in pushing these lanes if they do win a team fight.
I just want to give one slight criticism here. I think when you're running this kind of siege comp, you typically want something in a side lane. Cho'Gath not really going to be that character, but when they do have 5 members in one of these lanes on one tower, that thing's going down. There's almost nothing here that Lotus White can do. They have the Anivia, so assuming they can, as long as they can keep the wave off the tower, I think they can keep it alive. But that's going to be really hard here against all the wave clear on the side of Hawkthorne.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I mean, I don't expect it to happen. I don't know if we're looking at here we are. So we're not gonna see Harshtuck Brother play the Ziggs. I was thinking maybe you could even go Tristana mid and Ziggs bot, so you have a little bit better of a damage profile between the Diana and the Tristana there, and you actually have a Tristana who's a little bit stronger, and she can split a little bit differently than the Ziggs. But you still have an opportunity to have a decent amount of split pushing with this Hawkthorne composition. You can go 1-3-1 if you really wanted to, but like you said, 5 deep in any lane, you could really have Braum and Cho'Gath just eat up a lot of that damage that's coming through, while Tristana and Ziggs hit the tower. I mean, it's not going to survive very long at all. Like, it doesn't survive. it just really just goes down before a Braum or Cho'Gath gets cooked, and I mean, there's just a very strong chance that Hawkthorne wins a team fight. It's a very, very, very punishable situation for Lotus White.
Yeah, I think another big thing to point out here is going to be this Kayn versus Diana matchup in the jungle. I would say both not super strong very early. Kayn really needs to get that form going somewhere on the map. Might end up going top lane, as I believe if I was playing the Kayn situation, I would think red Kayn. There is an opportunity for that blue Kayn, of course, just because he has so many speed ups and shields on his team. He could really just close the gap so quickly through a wall. If that assassin gets ahead, it's very frustrating to play against. But I really think that with the composition Hawkthorne has, where they kind of want to group up around a tower, what you really want here is a flanking red Kayn to just disrupt their team, force their attention to their backline, and then have this very strong front line running at them with the Set, with the Sivir, and the Karma as well, speeding everyone up to really just decimate once that distraction comes in.
Yeah, that's true, but you also have to think about there's so much peel. There's so much protection, so much peel for Hawkthorne. And I guess that's the biggest way to, the biggest way to make things happen for Lotus White is to have Kayn flanking, because running straight at them is fine with the Braum, with the Cho'Gath. And honestly, if we do see Arth get ahead in this matchup, he might just say, okay, please come into me. Let me press R. Let me get this moonfall going. And now you're all stuck in here with me. And there's a Ziggs. There's a Tristana. And they will definitely welcome you with open arms if you are all stuck in here. And with that E splash damage from that explosive charge with Tristana, there is a ton of damage that can be put down, as well as with the Ziggs. And then if anyone tries to get away, that feast from Cho'Gath can go ahead and execute them right away. So there is a bit of, Lotus White's comp maybe playing into Hawkthorne's hands and into what they want them to do to a certain degree. But it's going to be all about, I think, early pressure and who buys themselves enough time to scale or get the game over with quickly enough so the other team doesn't quite scale. We know what a Sivir can do, and a Set with a bunch of items is borderline unkillable with a Karma behind them. So I think both these squads are going to be looking to try to jockey and be very aggressively looking for these first 2 dragons, because there's a lot riding on having that advantage, that 10-minute buffer for yourself in the first 10 to, let's call it 13 minutes of the game.
And assuming Hawkthorne can get this Cho'Gath down towards that dragon, they're going to have such a strong spike secure. If they get the positioning early on those fights, there's almost no way Lotus White gets these steals. You've seen crazier things. I saw Amumu get a crazy double kill at dragon last week. Hopefully we'll have that happen. But with the Godzilla on a Cho'Gath feast, securing the dragon, top of just all the zoning tools you have on really both these teams, whoever gets to this pit first is going to have a massive advantage.
Yeah, I said that Lotus White does have some very good peel, or a very good turn. They do have that a little bit later in the game, but yeah, if Hawkthorne's on objective early, I mean, it's gonna be very hard to crack inside with Tristana, Cho'Gath, Diana, Braum right there. It's gonna be very, very hard to get inside there to actually deter them from making a move on that objective. And like you mentioned with Cho'Gath, you have double smite, very hard to steal away from a Cho'Gath. We'll see how these two teams play, but I'll tell you right now, I'm going to go all in with my channel points real quickly on this Hawkthorne comp. Gotta love my Yordles. Gotta love Diana in the jungle. Very aggressive jungler. And I'm with Hawkthorne here.
I might have to go against you here. I've got faith in the Lotus White composition. I love the speed ups. I love that they're enabling this set. And I'm going to go all in on the opposite side. So we got opposing bets here. Be just as competitive as our fantasy league as we get that locked in here. But I'm just looking at this composition. The speed they have, the ability they have to either engage or disengage and really get away or collapse in on this Diana. I think that this is the composition that is built very, very well around taking down what Hawkthorne Esports wants to do here.
We'll have to see how that goes on the Rift.
I guess so. Is there any picks you think that would have been a good change out here to maybe have swayed your opinion on the Lotus White composition?
I would have probably looked to go Gnar top instead of the set. That's the only thing I could actually think about. Maybe if you go with Karma top and then something like a Nautilus down the way. Not banned. No, not wasn't banned. But honestly, there's not too much I would change here. I think the only thing I would really change would be probably the set into a Gnar. But outside of this, I like the composition. I just like Hawkthorne's a lot more. I like that they have great siege, great engage. They have a really strong comp right here.
All right, we'll stick around to find out who manages to win this bet. We'll be throwing this one over to Dunsey and Zephyr in just a little bit to break down the game. Stay tuned for Hawkthorne Esports versus Lotus White Game 1.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Excellency Light League. We're bringing you the first game here of Week 7 between Hawkthorne versus Lotus White. That being said, I am your play-by-play caster of the night, Zephyr, joined by my lovely color caster, Dunsey, as we'll be taking a look at two of the heaviest hitters in Light League.
Heavy hitters indeed. We got the number 1 and number 2 overall teams coming in for our streamed match in Week 7. 2 weeks until playoffs after this. It is down to the wire. These teams want that coveted number 1 seed. The top 2 get a bye week, and CB Clockwork are on. They're nipping on the heels of Hawkthorne right now because they just dropped the series last week to number 2 power ranked Classic Esports. That's right, Zephyr.
Number 2 power rank. Why are you doing this to not only me but yourself?
On Dunsey's own power rankings, that is right. But we are focused on Hawkthorne and Lotus White here tonight. I'm excited for it, man.
I'm more than excited here. This is, personally, I think Hawkthorne has the mettle to beat anyone across the board here. And while Lotus is a very skill-based team evident in all their players. I don't personally think that they're number one, and so they've got to prove it to me tonight in this series.
I think that they might just do that. And hey, to each their own.
You're biased. I don't care what you say. You're biased.
That's not true. I think Necrox has a very long neck, just like everyone else.
That's not bias. That's simply fact. If you get
True.
the extension tape out, that man's neck spans the sky's the limit, I suppose.
Oh.
He's like the
So,
Empire State Building of necks.
Of necks.
Yeah.
Of course. I think that's accurate.
All
On the
right, but
Sivir,
yeah, we
though.
have a game.
Yeah. Neck not that long on the Sivir. They want the level 2 push though.
I can definitely see that playing into their favor alongside the poke from Karma at any given point here from Lotus White. That being said, the name of the game for bot is all about scaling. And to be honest, this is a great push here from Lotus White consistently in the first couple minutes, but I don't think without a gank, they're ever going to have the respective kill pressure if both of these teams treat it as respectfully as they should.
Yeah, I mean, heavy poke, double range advantage coming out from the side of Lotus White. I'm surprised Fire Streaks, he went ultra aggressive and leveled the tether. His focus resolve there second, so he doesn't have shield right now. Necrox also does not have spell shield available, so very aggressive level 2 start from their bot lane. They also have an aggressive top laner. The Set got the counter pick into the Cho'Gath, that's one of Set's dream matchups, into this big tank. He should be able to bully that lane, and you see some damage coming out here right now.
Well, the thing is, all these lanes, they're not particularly looking to win, and I think that plays perfectly into the type of style you see from Lotus White. These guys are skilled, and most of the time when it comes to the lane-to-lane matchups, they find success. That being said, Hawkthorne's going to be relying on their composition to do the work for them here. So all Hawkthorne has to do, in my personal opinion, is just play it weak, scale up, don't lose out on any major objectives or gold, or don't go for any major trades that'll put you at a deficit, and they should be fine coming into team fights. There's a few things that I get a bit more worried about if we look towards some of the scalers or assassins that could be diving through, but other than that, I just love Hawkthorne's comp.
I think that their 5-on-5 is extremely potent, especially with the buffed Ziggs on this patch. It has lane prow pre-6 against the Nivea. It has massive team fight presence. The wave clear is so good, and with the Luden's rush, he does so much damage on that new buffed Q. I mean, you're just gonna see these bombs dropping on people's heads. That bouncing bomb, and you're gonna just gasp at the damage. It's actually ridiculous right now.
And I know you discussed it before we even got into game. He's got prio in that lane, at least pre-6 for the time being. So Heartstuck Brother going to put himself in the best of positions here for the extent of this mid-game, especially if we may see some rotations come out anytime soon.
Yeah, and it's kind of a new look for Heartstuck Brother. I mean, the last time he was on stream, he was playing the Lucian, some aggressive mid laners, the AD mid laners. He was really getting in the face of, I can't remember who it was at the time, but he was all about the pride, but it was a different style, right? Kind of looking for kill threats and roaming around the map. Now the Ziggs is real wave cleary. I get that the meta's shifted a bit since then, so I kind of really like this new look from Heartstuck.
I think it's still like a kill threat.
Yeah, it could be a kill threat. It's just I appreciate that he's showing these different styles, and they're the number 2 team for a reason. He's not like a one trick. He's not even just a one kind of type mid laner, right? He can do it all. So Heartstuck kind of flexing his ocean pool right now.
His ocean pool. That's a way to put it.
His champion ocean.
Correct. That being said, nothing too crazy across the board. Even though he did have that priority, he actually is technically he'll even out that wave as it crashes in there. But I actually is losing the CS battle just slightly to what is Saint Alucard there. We'll see how that wave crashes in the turret, and if Alucard is able to pick up any ebbs and flows of that. I will say, overall across the board, everyone's playing it exactly to be expected here. You know, scale up, grab the potential. I am curious to see when they begin the fights to be upset, and Diana with that early Drake is going to dissuade any of that early grouping, to be honest.
And she was already up a camp, so pathing a little bit more efficiently than SmartPants77 right now. Arth has the equal camps plus the Drake advantage now. doing a really good job for himself. Diana is not, a power farmer by any means, but here comes the first gank Zephyr. Smart Pants waiting in the wings, looking for an opportunity, just kind of patiently playing, and they somehow
they
pinged him
literally,
out.
I was gonna say, they literally back off as if they've got a ward in that area, and they're obviously keeping track of the pacing here from Smart Pants. I will say they back off and nothing comes to fruition here for Smart Pants. So that's 2 times now that we have seen Smart Pants make a gesture towards his bot lane, but maybe I spoke a little bit too soon here. Boomerang,
TP.
exhaust, no knock with the slow, but like you said, TP coming from behind. Counter's doing a good job to get those concussive blows off. A stun here for with Smart Pants as Godzilla steps up. Knockup not quite going to land on Fire Streaks as the Mega Bomb whiffs wide. Big TP response here coming through from Common Taco. He's stepping forward. Can he find the face breaker? Not quite. Overall, so much expended, but nothing found for either squad.
Yeah, I mean, so Common Taco tried to get the wave shoved in, and it eventually is going to meet that tower Cho'Gath. Zilla's not going to be able to go and soak up the wave, so a net positive kind of for Lotus White there. They traded TPs, they traded summoners, and look at the wave stacking top lane. It's going to push back towards Common Taco, and he's going to be able to continually build on that farm lead right now. Meanwhile, Alucard got a plate in the mid lane. He stayed and held his TP. Heartslick Brother kind of made his roam down because he was going to be the 4v4, where Arth was still farming on the top side. So it was an awkward 4v4 as we get a little bit more fighting here.
Counters in, throws the bomb down, shields up, Buster Shot a little early there, pressures Fire Streaks back and off as they are going to have to go for that back here. That Counters being able to find that one and keep the consistency up in this lane. I think finally going to bring the CS back to an even here. But Necrox is staying. He knows he's got to catch this wave.
Yeah, I mean, my heart rate's kind of going up. It's a little bit tense right now. Necrox might be in a little bit of trouble staying here. He doesn't have heal.
No way. Yeah. There's no way Hawkthorne dies. They do not have the potential yet.
So yeah, Necrox safely is able to soak up that wave. And if you look across the board in the lanes right now, as there's a massive wave crashing for Common Taco.
Ooh, this might be the first kill of the game as Smart Pants arrives to that top lane. Big flash immediately from Godzilla, and that's all you really can do in this situation. So at least he pulls the flash here out of the Cho, but it's not going to garner any kill pressure.
Yeah, but he has a really good frozen wave in front of his turret with flash advantage. Smart Pants needs to make a return gank here. Arth is spotted on a ward though, and he knows.
So nothing there. Heartsuck Brothers deep in the bot lane came through, like he said, with that TP, unable to find anything particular on to Fire Streaks there. You see him throw down what is the Mega Inferno Barm, and while it's going to put Fire Streaks back to base here, I am curious what lead it might garner counters, if any at all.
I mean, what it's doing is it's giving Alucard a 25 CS lead right now on the scaling Anivia, on his signature champion. He's going to be a monster in the late game. It's up to Arth and counters to see if they can assassinate that Anivia in these team fights.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of assassination, I was going to say Matty Mice and them stepping up pretty aggressively under turret. I thought they were going to go for this time. They start with the bomb, and it's going to be the turret shot that actually takes down Matty Mice as Counters leaps back in to find a kill. Necrox gets the reset, and can he find the blast cone? He just barely does, but Smart Pants goes over the wall with him. The flash, as a result, having to be expended here. And Counters, I'm pretty sure, might be able to walk away from this one pretty clean as, yeah, that bomb is going to make sure that Pants does not go any closer here. So 1 for 1 in the bot, but overall a bit more of a success for Hawkthorne as they find that kill onto Necrox.
Yeah, the CS is shrinking here, but there's still more going on. Arth wants in. It is warded right now. Fire Streaks doesn't know. And so they spotted Smart Pants out. Gonna invade his blue buff here. We're gonna see a little bit of a scuffle.
Possibly you could have Arth with the positioning available, going for that blue, and I don't think this is the right decision. He finds the steal, and that's the Moonfall as well. Good Umbral Trespass to dodge it out, and they get the kill as a result. Now a great wall into Hardstuck Brother, going to pressure that Ziggs back as he goes down in the face of Smart Pants. Matty Mice dashes back as Counters now steps in for potentially what will be that 1v4, but that's not going to be it as the door shuts behind him, and Counters goes down as well. That is 4 members of Hawkthorne taking a brutal skirmish here in the early game.
And that's just too aggressive from Arth right now. The solo mission into the blue buff. Yeah, you got a nice smite steal off on the blue, but the rest of Lotus White were there, and guess what? It's right before Drake spawns. They're now even in Drakes. They take that Inferno for themselves, and we're going to get ourselves a Cloud Soul eventually in this game.
I will say that fight could have been so much different if they had just waited the extra second for, you know, the potential of counters and Maddie to step into that one. I think Arth is strong, but I don't think Arth is strong enough to take the full fight and force there. So, gosh, that's got to be such a painful start for a team that's looking to play it a bit more weak.
Yeah, they were doing so well with the scaling. Counters was playing lane extremely well there. And then the 0 for 4 is brutal. I mean, I got to commend Alucard. He saw the flash over from Hardstuck Brother. He did not panic himself and flash as well. Instead, he had a perfect wall there. And that's why you don't give this guy a Nivea. He is just too established. He knows the champion too well. To the Teemo of a pixel, he was able to push Hardstuck Brother into the rest of Lotus White there and just clean up that win. I mean, he didn't pick up a kill there. Instead, it's going over to Necrox, your AD carry, been a huge contributor to the Lotus White wins this season. So it's rolling right now for Lotus White.
I mean,
know
you saw that. No, I'm not talking about Necrox here. I'm definitely talking about this one. They've got what is the control ward set up, and Fire Streaks might walk into this one. I'm curious if they're able to capitalize. I mean, this is big whammy, no bucks. All right. I don't know if they know anything's up per se. No, they have to. They have to. I don't think they know where.
Uh-oh.
Okay. There's the Glacial Fissure. So they start this one off, big flash immediately. Stun comes through from the concussive, blows this counter, steps up. Now the exhaust going to prevent a majority of that damage, but still counters, picks up the response, steps into Necrox now of all people. Now reminder, he's got that Kraken, so the damage is just too much. Necrox on the killing spree, taking out what is counters, and the boomerang just barely misses Matty Mice. Hardstuck Brother and Arth on that rotation just miss the kill pressure that they could have had onto Necrox. And it's the 1-for-1 here in the bot lane.
And it was so bad there for Hawkthorne. They waited so long to make that cheese play happen, and the kill goes over, traded to Necrox. He even threw a boomerang backwards. I think he possibly could have picked up both there. But instead, the 1-for-1, and it's the Tristana who falls, and Necrox picks up a kill for himself.
Right. I will say there was the kill on the Fire Streak, so the Tristana did manage to find at least the one, but why are you jumping in there at the very end? I know you think you have that pressure or that advantage, but you have to realize Mythic completed, Berserker Greaves available, Necrox is in a prime position to fight here as Sivir with or without Fire Streaks, and that just instantly decimated the both of them there, especially when you don't have those windows available. You've already expended your major ultimates there on the Fire Streaks.
Not only that, they also sacked an entire wave that was lost to the turrets in order to make that play happen in what was overall a slightly negative play for Hawkthorne. So a lot of kind of just squandered, I guess, decision-making here from Hawkthorne. They do have an opportunity coming up in 90 seconds, though, for a Drake fight, and the items are starting to come online. Counters, once he gets a reset here, should have his own Kraken completed. And you see the Diana, Nash's Tooth is done, gonna pick up the Herald as well for herself, so she is coming online.
Now, might have a little bit of a skirmish about to take place here by the Rift. You see the movement here from Lotus White. Instant showstopper to start things off. Godzilla in the midst, in the thick here. Gonna be the crash from that Umbral Trespass that actually garners the kill for Lotus White. And they lose the Rift as a result. So, massive turn of trade there for White.
And that was an absolute caster curse. I should have seen that one coming because Hardstuck Brother actually showed in the bot lane. So Lotus White kind of had the okay go, knowing both counters and Matty Mice and Hardstuck Brother were all on the bottom side to contest that Drake. Or I'm sorry, that Herald. So, sorry, Arth, I completely cursed you there. That was a rough one. But Lotus White kind of just take advantage of the numbers.
Brother, get out of the storm there! That flash did not need to be expend. I mean, that is just a waste of potential. I mean, no respect there, in my opinion. Oh,
Necrox.
speaking of no respect, counters has no respect here for Necrox as a whole. Slams him back with that buster shot. You see the on the hunt immediately utilizing a teleport also coming through here from Hardstuck Brother. These are 4 members looking for this major kill here onto the goose that is Necrox. Now, Arth is hot and fast onto his trails. Can he find him before? Okay, at that point, it doesn't matter. I was about to say, can you find him before you execute? Global ultimates.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, it must have just been right off cooldown. That's so unfortunate for Necrox. He didn't want to use his flash to guarantee the execute, which is fine. They're gonna give it the Drake here. It's only the second Drake. We're already 17 minutes into the game, so neither team is gonna have an incredibly quick soul. They do have some really nice ultimates, though, if Hawkthorne can manage to get the next 2 to utilize that Cloud Drake. And it's important for the move speed because they need to match Necrox and Fire Streaks on this Sever Karma move speed duo. That Cloud Drake wouldn't completely negate it, but it would certainly help against the move speed comp of Lotus White.
Now, I will say you throw that shutdown gold from Necrox here onto Hardstuck Brother, which personally is the best looking player as it stands concurrently for Hawkthorne at this given point, and that's going to continuously stack. So I worry for my sweet children, my summer children. That is Lotus White. They are my summer children.
Oh yeah, that's why you have them power rank 3rd.
Well, my sweet summer children haven't proven to me that they're first yet.
True. Okay. So they're trying right now.
This is my series. This is their series to live up to Daddy's expectations.
Ah, okay. We all want to make Sir Benjamin proud here, so they're trying their best. They have a 3K gold lead right now, but Smart Pants. Oh, he stopped the back.
He's coming through here. The gank that failed originally might find success this time around. Zilla so thick and able to walk forward here. Not quite sure if he'll be able to make the escape as that knockup coming through there is going to spell the end. Kamatako picking that one up for the squad of Lotus White.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Zilla didn't stop his own base, he might have been able to just completely blue pill home there. Smart Pants kind of spooked him, though, with the wall indicator showing up, but Arth return ganking bottom once again.
No vision available, counters leaping in immediately. Big flash is going to be the whip there as Fire Streaks plays with the return on that summoner. Matty stepping up here with the defense as Alucard's coming through the backline. Arth going to prevent that with the Moonfall dash there and actually finds him into the Egg of a save as Kamatago comes in with that massive teleport to slay down Matty Mice. Necrox picks that one up. Now the top side, Arth is finding the returns. Counters is going for the 1v1 with the Buster shot and able to find the kills. Common as forced to flash as Arth finds it with the Moon Glaive. That being said, knockup dissuaded with the spell shield off of Necrox here as it's going to be the 2-for-1 pickup in favor of Hawkthorne as they crash into this bottom turret.
They want more. Arth is looking for Kane.
At this point, they're running away. They have no choice here to just completely disengage. If you try to take this fight, this is where you're going to see the Hawkthorne that I've been waiting for shine. This is the composition that dissuades any and all pressure. If you cannot get onto this backline, they are going to run you down, and that's exactly what they're doing right now.
Yeah, the turret is falling low. Godzilla's going to take it and make an Infernal Bomb, just zoning off all of Lotus White, but there's no...
This is so good.
Yeah. Hardstuck Brother can just kill this turret with one of his W's. The satchel might be... Oh, no, he used it.
He utilizes that satchel, but unable to find what is the cancel on the turret. You do see the rest of Hawkthorne rotate back here. Notably, no dragon or objective is available, so they're just playing this one out as aggressive as can be. Sadly, the Shire doesn't land onto the brother there to take out the Ziggs pressure, but still, Hawkthorne now active, now on the map, putting pedal to the metal. This is the squad that we set up for when we looked at this draft at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so that was really, really well done, especially by Arth, who completely... Oh, no, Necrox.
Counters stepping up here. Necrox looking lower and lower. Great use of Spell Shield, but it's not enough to prevent a death from going the way of Hawkthorne. Counters, easy setup, easy CC. I mean, I gotta question, what's the deal?
I mean, that's just absolute greed here coming out from Necrox, but we're going to get more fighting, man.
This is greedier. This is way greedier. This is the heaviest and most BM back as a whole, and you can see immediately the entirety here of Hawkthorne are getting ripped to shreds. Umbral, Trespass, Step Up, Common Taco for the double. Godzilla now looking for the escape here on Cho, but the knockup once again going to prevent this man from walking out clean. 3 easy kills picked up here for Lotus in response to the engage on Necrox. And I mean,
yeah,
come on.
Both teams kind of just sloppy play right now. First, to go all the way back to the original gank from Arth, which was very, very well done. He's been return ganking bottom on repeat, knowing that counters is one of the main win conditions for Hawkthorne Esports. And I agree with that. That's been really smart. What happened was Alucard looked for a flank and he said, hey, team, I got this. I can make sure that I get the flank. But instead, he really just inted and walked into his own death. Arth completely soloed him out, and it was complete greed from Alucard by not flashing out of the Moonfall, by not flashing any of Arth's abilities, and just allowing him to get soloed out. So Alucard with a huge misstep, and then Necrox dying with both summoners available. I mean, eventually your team cleaned it up for you, and it kind of baited Hawkthorne in, but that's also even more greed. We're gonna get a 5v5 here,
I was gonna say, you're playing off a mistake there, and that's not what you want to do. But like you said, 5v5 flash forward, Arth with the Moonfall catches out Fire Streaks as a Mega Inferno is going to finish it off. Smarty able to dash forward over the walls. Necrox now the one to be turned of attention. Flash whips there from what is counters, but still he finds the kill nonetheless. Now Alucard over on the side, concussive blows down there, unable to get the stun off as they do get it over the wall, and it's going to be the bomb here that slays the man himself. 3 kills for Hawkthorne and a dragon to their name, and most likely a rotation now towards this Baron.
Crazy sloppy from Lotus White here. They are not playing as a team. Conversely, Hawkthorne have completely grouped up. They know who their win con is, and it is counters. He is showing up. He is absolutely obliterating the squishies of Lotus White. Both Alucard and Necrox got so low just from the Tristana alone, and we're going to look for a Drake steal here from Smart Pants. Can he do it? I don't know. Cho'Gath has Feast available. It's going to be super difficult.
It's impossible to play into a Feast Smite steal at this point, Dunsey, and that's actually going to find its way over to Arf with the Smite there, and Smarty Pants now going to pay for his transgressions, and actually manages to get over the wall utilizing that flash, but at the end of the day, that's 5 Baron buffs all successfully making their way out of the pit.
Man, that Baron got down to 12 HP. It was actually so close from Smart Pants, who is kind of the one player who is trying to play well for Lotus right now in the team fights. He is completely being gapped in the jungle as far as farm goes right now, and he's super behind in that regard. But he is 3-0-5 with 8 KPs, 66% of the team's kills right now. He is all over the map. He's playing the team fights well. He's found the ganks. It's going to be on him to hopefully just kind of corral the rest of Lotus White, calm them down. Hawkthorne, though, they want to put the pedal on the metal. They are looking for blood right now. They smell some sort of vulnerability in Lotus White, and they need to punish.
I will say Lotus looks all over the place, Dunsey, and this is not what we need right now. And it does not feel like they have a real sense of who or what they're looking to take down, because at the end of the day, you've got Arth, counters, and Hardstuck all providing an issue towards this squad. And whew, that's a bad place for counters. Sadly, Common couldn't really walk in because they've got the vision set up, but that was a fantastic wall from Alucard.
Yeah, even with Baron buff, I mean, you're walking into an Anivia and a Sivir. It's so much wave clear from Lotus White. I don't think that they can hold this turret for another wave, though. They'll give this one up, but I think Lotus White will be content having only given up a mid lane turret for that Baron buff mistake.
Well, that being said, they have all the pushing power in the world. Tristana and Ziggs combined. This composition, like I said at the very beginning, just doing all the work here, making up for any and all mistakes that we did see from Hawkthorne very early on. I mean, we came into this knowing that they're not going to be playing the lane to lane to win it through and through. They just have to wait until they group as 5, and that flash from Common's going to start things off. Counters leaping away as the Showstopper follows up from behind. Smart Pants diving forward as a Glacial Fissure is going to prevent Lotus from stepping any which further. Counters tries to go in as the Mega Inferno finds its way into that backline, but no one goes down. Windows for windows, summoners for summoners, and nothing but a kill pressure at all.
Yeah, Tristana's flash was down, and Set attempted to buffer the to use his pull-in whenever counters buffered the buffer. I'm sorry, gosh, the rocket jump, but
Correct.
He actually just pulled too early there, and counters was able to get to safety. Sivir had a couple of boomerangs that were so close to picking a couple of people off, but here comes the TP bag. Zilla is full health, and Heartsick Brother is back and ready for the siege.
Counter stepping up very aggressively, mind you. He's going to be poked just a little bit out there, but like you said, that rocket jump always doing its best to peel away. And this Baron buff going to be going down very shortly. I'm not quite sure if they're going to be able to get any more turrets off this one. And this is an incredibly close game in terms of the gold and standard here. We just finally saw Hawkthorne work their way back into it.
Man, fire streaks. Yeah.
Finally, someone doesn't save their flash.
Forced to dodge out from the Mega Inferno Bomb there. Ziggs is oppressive on this patch. Just so much poke damage, and it's very, very sticky with the Ludens as well, doing so much AoE. The Minefield, his E, just lasting forever. It feels like a decade. In fact, when you get enough ability haste, you can throw 2 Minefields down at once. Yeah, very, very strong champion right now, and he's flexing his siege skills and his zoning skills right now.
Well, at this point here, Lotus pretty much needs a miracle. It feels like Hawkthorne have found their rhythm, put themselves in the driver's seat, and personally, the last mistake I saw from them was that whiff towards the Baron where they went for the BM back, and at this point, I don't know what is going to garner them success. Counters better not step up any further, though, because that would be so angering in my eyes.
Yeah, I do remember seeing counters. I don't know how early it was, but he got crazy with his aggression. Hearthstone Brother, those caught.
No ability to disengage as Arth comes over the wall with that moonfall for a perfect setup there. Now Counter's actually going to get slammed back with the showstopper. A great stun to play around. It's Arth now the next one to move forward. Good double knock up from the Cho as he comes through with that V stack. Grit is coming through for Common Taco. St. Alucard comes through the backline with Matty Mice. Still not picked up. It's going to have to be the burn that actually secures that kill. So now a 2 for 2 as Godzilla flashes forward, able to get the silence off, but no knockup to follow. And with that root coming down, Godzilla actually gets taken out by the Comet at the last possible moment. Heartstuck Brother, the one who initially was engaged on, is actually the only member still left alive, and he's in a perfect spot to actually prevent any and all movement from onto this dragon, and that's literally all members except for the mid lanes taken out.
Yeah, Necrox died again with both his summoners available. I don't understand what he's saving them for.
Bring that up like
I am. Every single time this AD carry dies, he needs to have his summoners gone. Otherwise, it's a complete... I mean, it's ridiculous. He's the first one to die in that team fight, and Lotus White almost still pulled that off. It's kind of inexcusable from him. St. Alucard being the hero, and Common Taco actually had a really, really nice team fight as well. Godzilla, though...
He used him, though. There you go.
Yeah, there he is. Godzilla with massive silences across the entire team of Lotus White did so much work for Hawkthorne, and now they're gonna get a free Drake.
Free Drake, they're gonna get a free soul, stemming up what is that cloud. Now they turn their attention towards this team. Lotus here, Common Taco able to get a massive quadruple face breaker, but it's not going to be enough to stop his death. Arth was taken out, but that's not enough. Counters going in far too aggressive is going to be deleted into this team fight quite early on, as you do see the science come through on a St. Alucard that puts him into that egg Nivea form. Now Heartstuck and Matty Mice and the rest of them just try and do as much damage as they can, but still unable to find the kill when necessary. It looks to just end off with the 2 for 2, but the Dragon and Soul secured here for Hawkthorne Esports.
Yeah, and that's massive for them. Remember, we talked about the importance of the move speed, and their ultimates utilize the cooldown so well. Hawkthorne are playing these team fights incredibly well. They are a little bit aggressive. You see, I just touched on this. Counters gets a little bit hypey at times. He feels it, right? He's got a heat check going on, and St. Alucard stops him in his tracks, gets a shutdown for himself. Heartstuck Brother, though, doing his own impression of the best mid laner in Light League right now. 5-1-7 on this Ziggs. It's the battle of the mid laners. I think that this role is so underpowered, but these two guys, Heartstuck Brother and St. Alucard, have come to show up, and they're trying to carry their teams tonight.
Absolutely, and much praise to both of them. Counters, I think he's in the hot seat as well, but he's definitely got to slow the pacing out here. This man is aggressive as aggressive can get, so my apologies. Personally, I think this comp front to back will easily clean up this game, but with the
Zion
position that they're in, maybe not.
He's dead.
Brother is down for the count here. Moonfall from Arth goes in early. Matty Mice steps up, double knock up here from the response, and Smite Pants as we see that showstopper land into the backline. Counters now going for what is the 80 carry, is able to pick it up, but not at the cost of his own death. It's going to be the my apologies, the 3 for 1 here is Matty Mice able to actually jump out at the very last second. So like I said, 3 for 1 here, and it's completely not worth, as you're going to give that Baron.
Yeah, and that all came off the back of an Alucard pick. It was Heartstuck Brother who, I mean, the Zhonya's wasn't necessary. He panic pushed it a little bit there. The rest of his team were able to support him, and instead Alucard was able to get 2 Frostbites off. That's the crit E from this massive Anivia right now doing so much work. And it's a Baron for Lotus White. So it goes Soul to Hawkthorne, Baron to Lotus White. The top 2 teams in Lake League are just going blow for blow.
Do realize it's more specifically, it's Baron for Hawkthorne, Soul for Hawkthorne, and then Baron for Lotus
That's right.
White.
Yes, you're right.
We're at the second Baron at this point. My gosh. Never down for the count in this game.
Yeah. And in 3 minutes, that'll be the game-winning fight, because whatever team is able to secure Elder Soul, and for now, it's been Hawkthorne who've been really, really great around objectives that they're going to be able to just clean up that team fight. Both sides, so much damage coming out. Elder Souls, for sure the death of a team. We'll see if both Hawkthorne and Lotus White agree to take that coin flip team fight at the Drake, or if something will happen before then.
I gotta say, Hawkthorne, they're in the best position to win this one right now, but they've got to play respectfully. You cannot step up like this. You have to wait for your squad. Now Arth here, looking for all that he can, just gonna go down at the cost of what? 2 health points on a ward? Like,
yeah.
It makes me crazy. You have such a good front between Matty, Mice, and Godzilla. Just play around it.
Yeah, and Counters is split pushing right now. It is a 5v3 siege. Lotus White need to look to pull the trigger.
They can definitely do so. They still have that Baron buff in their pocket at any point here, and I think this can easily garner an inhib if they play this one correctly.
Yeah, I mean, look at Counters. He took 2 turrets on his own. He's going to be looking to push the inhibitor now. Hawkthorne with a nice split push.
Force them back.
Yeah.
They have no choice, and the response from Kamatako is going to come through immediately, but Counters has already done his job. He made the point that was necessary to have, completely made sure that that Baron went nowhere.
Yeah, and I love that move from Counters. Arth, who has been playing really, really well in the early game, unfortunately got picked there, and Counter says, okay, this is going to be my plan. You guys just stall for long enough for me to take 2 turrets on the top side. So much standing gold going over to Hawkthorne. They need it right now. Still down 3k, but we're getting to the point where gold difference doesn't matter. Look at the items coming out. We're completing 4th item slots in a lot of these guys. The Oblivion Orb on the Ziggs doing even more heal cuts, and it's just going to be just so much damage in these team fights.
Yeah, and tons of damage, as Freak would say.
It's exactly what's coming out here.
I think both squads are doing absolutely absurd amount of damage. That's why I'm so tilted regarding the fact that you need to put Zilla and Maddie in the front, and you can't have Heartstuck Brother and Counters stepping in as aggressively as they have been. I mean, you see these picks come through, and you've got to question, where is the mindset? Why are you playing it out in this regard? And now with the Baron buff still active here for Lotus White, I think they're just going to push mid lane, and they forgo the Elder in response.
It's 30 seconds,
but
right?
Someone's got to respond to this push.
Yeah, I mean, so Heartstuck Brother, he has TP, he went back. This is such a death push, but I think Lotus White has a feeling Kamatako's gonna find it.
The engage coming through here from Hawkthorne, but a triple knockup on the Hawkthorne might spell the end here. Matty low, Alucard with the kill onto Arth here. Counters having to flash over the wall as the rest of his squad is taken out. Now the 2 major carries here for Hawkthorne are in no position to contest what is this team fight, and they don't even have the ability to walk any closer to pit. That has got to be what feels like the game ender here for Hawkthorne.
I mean, 900 damage smite. Smart Pants needs to secure it.
The potential is there for the steal. Heartstuck Brother is trying. He throws down that satchel early with the Mega Inferno, but Lotus is doing such a good job to pace it out, make sure those windows aren't ready and available, and as a result, they easily secure that Elder.
Yeah, Heartstuck Brother, he is doing so much work just poking. No one from Lotus White, without the ultimates, without the Mantra shields coming out from Fire Streaks, or on the hunt from Necrocs, they can't really reach the Ziggs. There's too much zoning, and so he knew that those were down. He was able to poke Lotus White, but now with Elder Drake, Lotus White are the ones who need to pull the trigger. They're the ones who smell blood in the water, and they need to utilize this buff to perfection and end this game, because Hawkthorne can turn it on a dime. If this buff is not utilized well by Lotus White, Hawkthorne are one team fight away from winning this game as well. It is so close right now, Zephyr.
It's literally one team fight. The next fight that comes through here is going to spell the end of the game as a whole, and you can already see that's on the minds of everyone from Lotus White.
Yeah, they're going to decide to group up as 5, going to use their strength as a team, and again, counters splitting in the top lane. He wants that inhibitor. No one's going to match him for now. Ziggs can stall for so long. This champion is oppressive. The absolute wave clear from one member is ridiculous.
Counters, you gotta come back, man. This is not the time for the split. They have Elder, and that might be the end. Initial engage with the showstopper here on the Matty Mice as you find the instant kill response there from Hearts of Brother. He's able to get the Mega Inferno off as Counters continues to push. A massive snipe from Alucard with the shard. There's Godzilla's the next to go down. Only Arth. Counters finally with the recall, but it is too late. Your squad's gone. Arth into the backline. Moonfall available. Counter stepping up onto Necrox. He goes 3 for 2, and it's gonna be the Elder that spells the end for both of them. Nexus down, and Lotus White against all odds clean it up and take game 1.
37 minutes of absolute, unabashed, just great team play from both sides here. 11-2 on St. Alucard. I got to give it to him as the MVP of Game 1 right now, carrying his team through that mid-game sloppiness, because Hawkthorne had it, man. They were coming back. They had that Baron. They had the Soul. Everything was going well until a couple of catches from St. Alucard saved Lotus once again. They take Game 1, and I'm so excited to see the rest of this series.
I'm excited because Hawkthorne play that any other different way, and they actually successfully might have had a victory on their belt here, but so many poor decisions made. Counters with the initial heart, engage the response with the split pushing constantly. Arth, Matty, the rest of them constantly getting caught out. It all just spelled demise. That being said, though, we are going to be tossing this one back to our analyst desk here between Solpan and Shellatron as they break down how Lotus White walked into this game and found victory at the end.
Well, it was a close one, Shells, but in the end, it's a Sivir comp. You press R, Karma presses RE, and you just win the game. A great way for them to close that one out. Extremely smart to have the Cho'Gath, to have the to just take the dive once they have the opportunity with that Elder Dragon. Tristana's top side, you just run it on in. A great way to end it for Lotus White.
Yeah, that was a very great and very aggressive win there at the very end of the game for Lotus White. But this is the kind of game that makes me ask myself a very important question. Did Lotus White win this game, or did Hawkthorne Esports lose this game? And I have to tell you honestly, I think that Hawkthorne Esports really, really hard lost this game in a number of ways. We can talk about what Counters did numerous times. Whenever he saw that the W button on his UI was lit up in color, he pressed W. I even saw him press W after a fight was already done to go deeper into the enemy jungle to reset, gets caught out, turns into 3 deaths on his team just because he gets caught out and spotted on a sweeper. And then the whole game just rocket jumping in for honestly not much reason at all. But it wasn't just that. It was some of the macro calls from Hawkthorne Esports, spending 3-4 minutes at a time in the mid lane, all 5 of your teammates there, when there could have been one person splitting either bot or top, maybe even, you have a Ziggs and you have a Tristana, probably send the Ziggs away. I mean, Godzilla on the Cho'Gath was not able to get any farm for 3-4 minutes straight, or even for longer than that, because he was grouped with his team, and you're not going to get farm as a Cho'Gath when you have a Tristana and a Ziggs on your squad. So he was kind of starved out for items, for gold, while Set, powered by Kamatako, was getting stronger and stronger. I think there are multiple times Hawkthorne Esports had the win in the palm of their hand, and then just flipped the palm, just said, you know what? Let's make this one interesting. And Lotus White said, let's not, and end the game in a very quick fashion. A great win for them, but I think it was a heavier loss for Hawkthorne Esports.
I really want to talk about the early game here. I think a lot of these advantages we saw. I mean, we saw the Nivea carry. St. Alucard did a phenomenal job of the Niv in the mid game, but a lot of that came from the pressure his bot lane was creating. If you looked down towards bot, anytime before 15 minutes, there were at least 4 blue team members down there, all hanging out and having a ball. There was constant ganks, constant teleports. They were always looking to make a play bot lane, but despite all of it, Sivir came out either even or arguably ahead. That's not what you want when you're investing that much of your resources into that bot lane. So I'm not sure if that was the right call for them or if they just messed up the TP timings and the plays. But ultimately, I think that bot lane drove so much pressure away from the solo laners that they were able to get their towers very early, which gave them a giant lead early game, but then also just build a massive CS advantage.
That's the biggest thing. You said that we saw Necrox on the Sivir coming out even in those trades. Yeah, even in those kills, but he was always, I mean, by the 15-minute mark, he was about 15, 20 CS ahead of counters playing that Tristana. So either way, he was always going to be ahead in gold on Tristana, which led to being ahead in items. And we all know about how well Sivir does scale with those extra items as well. And the TPs, and I think some of those early Mega Infernal Bombs from Harstuck Brother were a little bit questionable. Maybe we can just call those ambitious if you want to be very, very nice about it. But there were more than a few miscues there in the first 15 minutes. We saw Necrox 4-1-2 by 15 minutes. So, I mean, it looked very, very rough for Hawkthorne. And Lotus White did play the laning phase extraordinarily well.
I do also want to say, I think that this composition for Hawkthorne wanted to do 2 different things, or at least the people on the team did. Counters wanted to dive in constantly with Tristana, like we saw. He had some success with it, but when your team can't follow up on that because you have mostly what I would call a poke composition with no way to really create a hard engagement other than the Diana, most of your team can't follow up on your crazy engagement, and you're not going to have that peel, that tankiness surrounding you to really help you out with that. I think if you had played these team fights front to back with the Ziggs constantly poking, there would have been some more advantages for them to be able to come back in this one. But ultimately, it ended up being a White Lotus win off the back of them not being able to send in a split pusher because they couldn't match the set with the Cho'Gath, them not being able to really create any kind of opportunities to split up this comp that just wants to press R, run at you, and win the game. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, it ended up being a White Lotus win, but I think that if they change up their draft, this composition could actually be very strong.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think this could have easily been anybody's game here in this one, but yeah, Lotus White proving why I voted on Hawkthorne here, but I do have Lotus White as my number 1 team. I have Hawkthorne as number 3. We do know that Hawkthorne is coming off of losing 2 games to Classic Esports. Classic Esports is not what we would call one of our powerhouses here in Excellency Light League, even my categories. Classic Esports not doing so hot right now, and Lotus White is looking at back-to-back 3-0s. Also not against very great teams right now in the league, but still, that's a lot more confidence, a lot more better morale moving into this matchup. And it showed in game number 1 that they were able to go ahead and turn around a game that looked to be in not quite dire straits, but in a bad position, and really find a very strong and easy win con by the 35-minute mark.
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes just comes down to ease of execution of your composition. I think a poke comp is really easy to execute. I think a run at you composition is even easier to execute. And they were able to just find the fights they needed. When there was a great pick they had onto the jungler of Hawkthorne Esports where they managed to spot him out on a ward, killing one, and they just popped. You saw them, they popped every ultimate, and despite trying to flash away, he ended up getting caught up and just picked off. It was a huge pick for them, and I think it was one of the pivotal moments of this game.
Oh, for sure. And then you think about this as well. This was a composition that had a very strong win con, but then throwing a Kayn in there. Throwing a Kayn is a kind of a big wrench into this composition here. He doesn't exactly fit in with what this comp wants to do, honestly. But when you have a guy like Smart Pants playing in the jungle, he made it work. Even though some of those ganks weren't all that effective, sometimes when you have a guy like Counters jumping into you, and you have other things like that going on, the Kayn pick ended up looking very, very good. I want to see if we are going to see Smart Pants pick up another champion that's more in the meta, or if he does stay to these more off script, some of these more lesser known, lesser seen champions in the jungle and still make those work.